Hey, how's it going, everybody? Pragmatic Addict here. So, I said in my last video, the review of The Whale, that I would be sitting down throughout the rest of this year talking about, some year-end list stuff. So I do have, like, 4 lists planned, including this one. But I also have, a few other stuff planned as well. So, just trying to get some of this stuff out of the way before, Christmas comes and everything, and the New Year's and everything. Got some plans for both days, obviously. So I've never done a year-end horror list, but everybody is saying that, 2022, it's kind of the year of horror. Now, I haven't seen every movie, let alone every horror movie, in 2022. There were, a lot that I just didn't get the chance to see. Things like Hellraiser, Werewolf by Night, just to name a couple. But again, there were a lot of horror films that were released this year, and a lot of successful ones. Now, if you didn't notice, Halloween Ends was not in that lineup. That's going to be in another year-end video of mine, worst of the year. But again, there were a lot that released this year. That wasn't even all of them. That was just some, again, emphasis on some of the better ones. So in my countdown, I am only going to be including 8. There were, other ones that I thought were fine, but not good enough to be like, I need to talk about this among all the others at the end of the year. So, yes, in my countdown, I'm going to be talking about 8. This could be a spoiler, but just try to enjoy the video anyway. But with all that being said, let's talk about number 8. So this was a very unexpected one for me, probably for you guys. I didn't review this one. Not a lot of people liked this one. It didn't get too bad, like as far as reviews went, but I was actually gonna review this one when it came out. I had a thumbnail all ready to go and everything for it. But this one is Beast. Let me explain. I love creature features. In my 65 trail reaction, I was saying about my love of creature features. I've even, talked before in another video about my love for creature features, how I even have fucking Lake Placid on video. And 65 coming out, I will probably talk furthermore about my love for creature features in that review. But yes, Beast. So I saw this one with my mom, and again, I didn't review it. I was like, you know what? It's a 90-minute film about a guy fighting a lion. I'll pass on this review. I may not even like it anyway. I don't really want to go and do a bunch of work over a movie like Beast. And then I watched it, and okay, so it's not a great film. I don't own the Blu-ray, but, and yes, I don't care what y'all say. This is a horror film. It says on the Wikipedia. But I had so much fun with this movie, again, as a creature feature. There was other reviews pretty much saying the same thing, but just a nice 90-minute film about a father and his kids being trapped somewhere, under the hold of, again, of a fucking vicious animal. It was so nice to get that in 2022. And what I remember gaining from the movie, for the most part, and this is just my opinion, was that this film actually had some pretty suspenseful surprises. It had some good moments of tension. I remember seeing this movie and before I watched it, again, I thought I was really gonna trash this movie. I was like, why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing this in the theater? And I watched it, and it gave me what I wanted out of a creature feature. Again, it was suspenseful, seeing this lion go against this family, seeing the kills from the lion. I enjoyed them enough. This wasn't a film that, again, it wasn't a great film. There was a lot of, side shit, from what I remember. I've only seen the movie once, but, with, the mother's character, there was a lot of, weird tonal shifts as far as, drama goes and everything with the movie. But, again, as a creature feature, I enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. For the next 7, I don't think these are going to be too big of surprises as far as having them on this list. There was another one besides Beast that I never reviewed that I am excited to talk about, but number 7 we have Terrifier 2. Oh, I don't know actually if I say that this is a better movie than Terrifier 1. I don't know if I said this in my review because I did review this movie. I don't remember if I said this exactly, but Terrifier 1 definitely does feel like an intro as far as an arc, kind of like displaying Art the Clown. But Terrifier 2 really shows not necessarily like what he can do or what he's capable of. I mean, we're not going to forget that first, movie's kill. But for a movie like this, for a slasher movie that was this fucking violent, saying, there was reports saying that, it was like making people walk out of the theater because it was making people faint and vomit. I mean, the movie's gnarly, but like, I didn't get that from it. And I saw this movie twice in the theater. So, I mean, with saying that, seeing this 2-hour plus slasher film to a film like Terrifier, which I wasn't like, amazed by, but I was like, okay, I like Art the Clown. Yeah, this one definitely had to be on this list. Again, it is long. It is just batshit with its whole plot, especially towards the last act of the movie or so. It really just like rubbed me the wrong way. Along with that, there is also a lengthy ass post-credit scene that didn't help the confusion at all either. But I definitely think that this film is worth talking about because of the absolute absurdity of this movie. And in number 6, guys, we have Watcher. So Watcher was kind of a slept-on horror movie. It was an indie film, a film from Shudder that had like a limited theatrical release. But it stars Micah Monroe, who was also in another horror film this year that I didn't get the chance to watch called Significant Other. But whenever she comes out with a horror movie, I'm typically pretty excited. Films like It Follows, obviously, The Guest, Villains. She's done a lot of really, original, really interesting horror material. And she usually picks some pretty good movies, within that genre. And this movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, just for a psychological, mystery that kind of keeps you guessing and keeping things fresh, throughout, especially with this kind of, plot, which is, this girl moves into this new country. She's in Romania. She gets this apartment, and she moves to Romania in this apartment because her husband has some work that he gets a new job in this area, and while she's at home, it's kind of like that disturbing thing. While she's at home, she's just, kind of looking at the neighbors, kind of looking at the atmosphere, doesn't go anywhere because she can't understand anything, doesn't know the area, doesn't have any friends. So she, while she's just at home looking, at the environment and everything, she keeps noticing that this neighbor across the way in another building is always spying on her. And, with this movie being centered on, obviously, paranoia, and everything like that, it does really well with that. It does, again, things very fresh with that. How, like, it's kind of like, making you wonder, is this all in her head? Is this guy innocent? Who is this guy? Is this even happening? The movie did really well with that. It has a last act, too, that I absolutely did not forget, and I don't think I ever will forget. It is not, something that's explosive, but for how much I liked the movie up until this ending, I thought it was a very well, movie just all in all. So that is my number 6 pick. And at number 5, you're probably not expecting this to be this low or high up on the list. I don't know how it goes. But number 5, we have Nope. So I really enjoyed Nope. I bought this shirt the day after I saw it, maybe even that night. I think I came home, looked up the merchandise, saw that they had, listings out for it. So I got the shirt, I got the Blu-ray the second it came out. And Jordan Peele, he is one of my favorite directors working today. Now, I will say this, which I said in my review for it. It is his least exciting and while it is his most ambitious, it was his least exciting to me, and most lacking film, regardless of the hype and how much I say I enjoyed it. I did enjoy this movie. I really liked the fact that Jordan Peele is switching things up, going from racial commentary to, a UFO movie. Did I think that as far as the UFO movie, that this movie was what they're all saying about this movie, a spectacle? No. I do think that the acting was great. I do think that, because a lot of people were like, this is not a horror movie, it's a comedy. And I was watching this movie and I'm like, I don't know, man, that monkey's pretty fucking vicious. That was kind of disturbing. Yeah, I thought that this movie, as far as horror goes, and with Jordan Peele, this did have some of the scariest material that, Jordan Peele has, released yet. This wasn't a bad film, in my opinion. I don't think that he's released a bad film yet. And another thing about that I liked about this film is that, like Get Out and like Us, and just other horror movies that I love to, peel back and digest and kind of, pick things apart with more viewings, this film had the most of that. It had so many layers, it had so much metaphors, it had so much shit that is still unexplained that I'm still trying to figure out, even things with Us. And I love that, he was able to make a movie that was this, ambitious and this hyped, that a lot of people, as time was going on and this film was getting closer to releasing, people were kind of getting more nervous that it wasn't going to deliver to the, to the standards that they were hoping for. But I still think that this included not only a lot with it, but it is also, again, as far as like Jordan Peele's movies go, yeah, it's not his best in my opinion, but it does have some of his best material in it. And with saying that, going on to number 4 now, we have Christmas, Bloody Christmas. I was not expecting to talk about this movie in a best horror films list, let alone even like this movie. I wasn't even going to see this movie. It was just one of those things where I was like, well, I'm awake, I got nothing to do, it's nice weather out, let's go see a movie. And then I saw that this movie was playing in the theater like right down the road from me, so I was like, alright, let's go watch Robot Santa Kill People. And I gotta say, like, everything about this movie that seems stupid, just ignore that. This movie, it's kind of sad that this has such a dumb premise. I mean, with saying that, this is kind of, it does have some silly things to it.
The U.S. Defense Department has spent over $1 trillion on the most cutting-edge robot technology, introducing RoboSanta Plus for the upcoming holiday season.
But this is not a bad movie. It is well acted. I love the characters. I love the overall punk rock like background, and like, while it is a short movie, it's like less than 90 minutes or something, and there is a lot of build up seeing Santa actually get the spotlight and do shit. When he does, it does not disappoint. The point of view shots, and like even like the last act of the movie, while I didn't particularly was like while I wasn't huge on it, it like the overall pacing, the overall genre twist, and the overall just absurdity, just batshit craziness of this movie, all in all, it really didn't have a whole lot of things that it did wrong. And as someone who is very picky and very critical, and someone that I was not expecting to even like this movie, I was like, I paid for the ticket and I was like, okay, let's get this over with. Oh god, I'm gonna have to review this movie. I was having a blast and I couldn't wait to talk about it. So yes, guys, Christmas, Bloody Christmas on number 4. Number 3, we have The Menu. Another movie that, when I went to see it, and like even before I went to go see it, I wasn't too excited because I didn't know what I was getting in for. I mean, I saw the trailer and I'm like, doesn't really seem like my type of movie. I mean, if it's good, that's great. But like, is this a horror film? I mean, I'll watch anything with Anya Taylor-Joy, but this movie, it was amazing. I really loved everything about it. It was a lot more suspenseful than I thought it was going to be. It was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. It was a lot more memorable than I thought it was going to be. And I remember just watching this movie. On the drive home, I was like, I might buy it on Blu-ray, but maybe that's just if I'm like, hey, I want to get a fucking cheeseburger and I want to watch The Menu, because I gotta say, like, it's a thing to, like, want to eat and watch something. Like, you can't watch something and just not eat. You gotta have a snack or something. And with a movie like this, with how, like, it was almost, like, satirical as far as, like, the foodie stuff goes and the comedy in the movie. And, like, being centered around this, there wasn't much that I was expecting as far as, like, what's this plot? Is it actually going to be a horror film? And I really fucking enjoyed it. I've only seen it once, but I have thought about it ever since. And number 2, we have, obviously, Barbarian is going to be on this list. So, Barbarian was one of the most original horror films I have seen in years. It was one of the craziest films I have seen this year, and it was one of the very best horror films of this year. And just films in general. I mean, when I saw this movie, I was like, so it's obviously, like, my favorite horror film of the year so far, but, like, it might be movie of the year for me. When I was still doing ratings and everything, this was one of the first films I gave, like, a 7 or higher in a long time. I really was not expecting much from this film. I was like, cool, Justin Long's in it. Bill Skarsgård is in it. Great, rock and roll. But, like, this being, like, a directorial debut from, like, the guy that did, like, The Whitest Kids You Know. Like, me and my buddy Tower were talking about, we're like, I mean, we hope it's good. We were not expecting it to be this good. Holy shit. This film is one of the, like, best reviewed movies of the year as well on Rotten Tomatoes. But, like, even before that, like, I was going to attend a screener of this movie, and it got canceled, and I was like, oh, oh well. And then this movie came out, and I was like, what I wouldn't give to see this anytime sooner. And I ended up seeing this a second time in theaters as well. I saw a few of these movies like more than once in the theaters, and this is one of them. And I hope that this is coming to Blu-ray. There was like a thing saying that like Searchlight might not be putting out their movies. I mean, we haven't gotten the Blu-ray release date yet, so a friend of mine said that had been debunked, but I mean, it'd be nice to fucking get this movie on Blu-ray. It's a fucking great movie. But yes, Barbarian definitely on the list. My last pick now, this is one that I didn't review, and I reviewed its predecessor, which I don't think is a bad movie by any means. It just didn't do much for me, maybe even at that time. I rewatched X after I watched this movie, and I still felt the same. So yes, obviously we're talking about Pearl. I saw this movie, so I didn't react to the trailer. I didn't do a movie review for it because I was like, well, I wasn't huge on X. But I'll go see Pearl. Why not? And I was absolutely in love with this movie. I pretty much loved everything about this film, except for the fact that, like, it was a little bit slower than I, would have thought it was. But that's not bad at all. That's not really a criticism. I'm just saying that it's kind of slow. It takes a little bit to get going. But obviously, Mia Goth, this is just to showcase her talent. My mom, I saw this twice in the theaters. My mom and my sister, they haven't seen X yet. And I'm like, I tried to get them to go see this movie with me. I'm like, go see Pearl with me. Watch Pearl. I bought the Blu-ray. I'm like, watch Pearl. They're like, well, we haven't seen X yet. And I'm like, you don't need to see X. These are two completely different movies. Are they connected? Yes. But one, this isn't a sequel. And two, you can enjoy Pearl without even knowing that X exists. I mean, absolutely watch X if you're going to see Pearl, but you don't need to. And Pearl, I bought this movie on Blu-ray the day it came out, the Walmart exclusive. It's absolutely gorgeous. But Pearl, I know that there's a lot of talk about horrors movies getting like snubbed for the Oscars. But goddamn, if you don't at least, mention Mia Goth.
I'm married! Are you leaving me? If I didn't do anything wrong, I don't understand. That's how you like me! I'm so happy you're home.
Her performance here, I mean, obviously she was in Pearl as two different characters. The prosthetics and the makeup for her other character that was Pearl in X. You got to mention her somewhere. And obviously Maxine, that has been greenlit. Once that trailer does come out, once that movie does come out, that will be a different story. I will react and, review that movie and its trailer. But Pearl, I cannot say enough about this movie. A lot of people, and myself included, it's like, it feels like the horror version of Joker set in the 1920s with a farm girl. It's kind of like Joker meets the Wizard of Oz. And I love that. This film, it was everything that I think it could have been. Is it that violent or that gory? No, but there is gore in it that is definitely like stomach turning. As far as Mia Goth, again, this could have been a drama. This could have not had any kills. This could have just been Mia Goth living on a farm for 2 hours, and I still would have loved this movie because I could not believe how well her acting was. Now, before, I just can't stop talking about Pearl, I am going to say that this is the list of mine. This is my favorite horror films of 2022. I still have a few lists coming. I am obviously doing a top 10 best, a top 10 worst, as well as a bonus video which will be coming probably early next month, which is my top 10 most anticipated video games of 2023. So I have a few lists that I'm doing. I'm also going to be doing some other videos throughout this month. And, obviously before my next review, which is Megan, I will be, doing some other content here and there. But I thought I'd start, getting these lists out there, getting these videos done and everything for the, in time for the Christmas season. So, yes, guys, that is going to conclude it for this video. But absolutely let me know, what are your guys' favorite horror films? I obviously missed a lot. You're probably wondering like, oh, where's this movie? Where's that movie? I didn't make it to every movie. Again, from the top of my head, I did not see Prey or Hellraiser or Werewolf by Night. A lot of the other indie films that I wanted to see, I didn't quite get the chance to get to either. But if there was any that you would love to share as far as like, your guys' countdown, some that you would like to recommend to me, absolutely drop them in the comments. I am more than happy to read those comments and react to them because I love horror. So, yes, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and I will be seeing you guys very soon in some other videos. Take care, guys, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic night.